Well, Dr. Stan here at the Genesis Communication Network, and our guest is Jerry Ray. We're talking about his book, A Memoir of Injustice. And, of course, this is the story of James Earl Ray and how he was set up as a conspiracy. In fact, one of the judges, what was his name, Judge Swearington, even talked about there was a conspiracy to kill Martin Luther King. What was that all about?
Well, I don't remember the whole deal. That was at the civil trial. That was when they convicted Lloyd Jowers of it. And I don't remember the whole deal, but I know that the jury ruled that James was innocent of that and that Lloyd Jowers was behind it.
And basically there were a number of judges who actually looked at the evidence and said there's no evidence here. Certainly a judge, Joe Brown, suddenly looked at the evidence and was very skeptical. And Judge Swearington looked at the evidence. Judge Battle was ready, of course, to give James a new trial. Of course, he very conveniently dies at the time. The first judge, certainly, who was going to hear the case before certainly Percy Foreman came on board, they felt that he was questioning what was really going on, and so they got rid of him and they turned the case over to Judge Battle. In other words, they did not want James to get a fair trial in America. Wasn't this sort of a little disillusioning for you to realize that there was this degree of corruption within the judicial system?
Well, I tell you what, when this first happened, when Dr. King got killed back in '68, I always kind of looked up to the FBI and I thought the government was straight and all that. And once I seen how the FBI operates, they tried to frame me several times and threaten to charge me and everything like that. And I seen how low down they can get. And nothing surprises me that the FBI or the politicians don't do. So I'm used to their crookedness, and like I say, nothing surprised me, because they can really get down low, because they're going to do anything to protect themselves. And just like when Judge Joe Brown was going to order another round of tests made on that gun to prove, because Judge Joe Brown didn't believe that James shot Dr. King, and he knew that the gun that they claimed that was used, because he said they even admitted to him that wasn't a gun, yet they're trying to pound off that it was a gun. And once Judge Joe Brown was going to order another test, they run up to the Tennessee Court of Appeals, the prosecutor did, and all the Mueller's prosecutors, and got Judge Joe Brown removed from the case. And shortly after, James Earl died, but he died fighting to prove that he was innocent, and he didn't have nothing to gain by proving one way or the other.
Well, it's a tragic situation. It's a memoir of injustice, and that's the title of the book, and well worthwhile reading, and certainly going into the background of the lengths that they will go to cover up for the assassination of a prominent individual. But, ladies and gentlemen, it happened so many times. So I give you example after example of this happening. Certainly, there were over 100 people who knew something about the murder of JFK, and they all died. That was a book called The Missing Witnesses, written by our friend Craig Roberts, who went in the background. Over 100 people associated and affiliated with the murder of JFK. They all died under various mysterious circumstances because they knew too much. So, and of course, here in this instance, why, of course, there's one woman who could verify the fact that the only witness, of course, who could even suggest that James Earl Ray was involved in the assassination, her husband, was lying, and certainly she saw the shooter. She was willing to tell and testify in the court that James Earl Ray was innocent, and she was sent to a psychiatric hospital. And of course, I've never read that, and that fact has been pretty well suppressed, hasn't it?
Yes, they try to keep that stuff a secret, but it's been out on the news though before. But like I say, they try to keep that stuff a secret, but she spent all them years in there, and she's the only one I actually seen a person come out of the bathroom, and he walked by the door, and Charlie Stevens, her common law husband, he's passed out on a bed, and she's seen the person in the face, see? And in fact, I can't remember his name now, but a cab driver, he come up, they'd called a cab to pick Charlie Stevens up, and he came up a few minutes before that happened, and he wouldn't haul him. He said he's too drunk, he couldn't haul him, and so he left her. And so that was who they was going to use. They used him to get James back from England. Then, but if it went to trial, they couldn't have used him because they destroyed him. An honest attorney would, and on the stand. But the reason they put her in an institution because if you're judged crazy, if you're in a nut house, you cannot testify.
Well, how did James get the money to go to England? I've always wondered about that.
Oh, he worked for this guy called Raul. He met him in Canada, and he was traveling back and forth. He thought running drugs, and he traveled New Orleans to Mexico, California. He traveled all over, and that's what I'm saying. When he'd go someplace, he'd park a car, and he'd pick the car up, and he'd pick it up later and drive someplace else. And so that's how he made all that money, and by working for Raul. We met Raul in Canada. He came to Chicago, and we was in Chicago. Then he left and went to Canada, and this is back in '67. Because he told me, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to get out of the United States, because he escaped. He's doing 20 years in Jefferson City, Missouri prison, and he wanted to get out of the United States because if he got caught, he'd have to go back and finish that 20 years up. See, and when he went to Canada, that's where he met this Raul, and he talked to me, and he could make some money. So he went to work with him.
Jerry, thank you very much for being with us, being our guest. Again, the book is a Memoir of Injustice by James Earl Ray's brother, Jerry Ray. God bless. Thanks so very much for being with us, and thank you for writing this very important book.
And thank you for giving me the time to talk about it.
God bless. Bye-bye. Okay, fine. Well, that was Jerry Ray. And this is the time when I have to remind all of you out in the listening audience that my ministry, Radio Liberty, is primarily listener-supported. And if you're in a position to help us, we'd certainly like to hear from you. Our telephone number, 1-800-544-8927. 1-800-544-8927. Our webpage is radioliberty.com. To understand our message, you need to read my book, Brotherhood of Darkness, and then you need to help us get it out. You need to hear my talk on the Forbidden Secret, and you get the syllabus that goes with us, my talk on the Dark Secret and the syllabus that goes with us, and understand that behind everything going on are really supernatural forces. And people don't like to hear about that. Oh, I want to hear about the conspiracy. Well, there is a conspiracy, but it is a conspiracy against God. That's what it's really all about. There is a conspiracy against God. And until you understand that, most of what's going on in the world today just doesn't make sense. So we do hope, of course, that you'll help us get the information out. And send me our telephone number, 1-800-544-8927. 1-800-544-8927. If you're in a position to join the Radio Liberty family of supporters, why, you can take the position of some people. We started out 15, 18 years ago, and we within just a year or two, we have a couple of hundred regular supporters, and after these years, we still have a couple of hundred regular supporters. We've lost some because they've simply lost their jobs, and for some reason, the Lord hasn't seemed to fit to just have us become a major ministry. Maybe that's why we're still here, able to get the information out. Maybe if we were much larger, why we wouldn't. But we still have over 60 outlets. In fact, we just picked up 2 new stations there in Utah. We'll be broadcasting there every evening for 2 hours every evening. one in Salt Lake and one in one of the other major cities in Utah. And gradually, little by little, we have expanded. So if you could join the Radio Liberty family of supporters and help us on a regular basis, we'd be appreciative. Once again, our number 1-800-544-8927. Our webpage, radioliberty.com, where you can certainly listen to our programs on a regular basis every day, and you can listen 9 hours a day. As a matter of fact, read our newsletters, watch our DVDs. Great information there. But then we ask you to pray for America, to pray for revival, but please pray for Radio Liberty, for our provision and protection. We'll be back in just a moment here at Radio Liberty.